Welcome to the Scratch Golfer's Mindset Podcast. My name is Paul Salter, and I'm a triple-digit golfer on a quest to become a scratch golfer. I'm also a high-performance mindset coach and credentialed hypnotherapist with 15 years of experience helping high performers from all walks of life get unstuck and unlock their full potential. Join me each week as I not only detail my journey, but make mastering the mental game of golf simple, tangible, and relatable so that you can overcome the mental hazards keeping you stuck in the proverbial bunker of poor performance. Hey, fellow golfer, welcome back to another episode of the Scratch Golfer's Mindset Podcast. I'm your host, Paul Salter, the golf hypnotherapist, and we have a lot to catch up on related to my pursuit of becoming a scratch golfer. And even more urgently, if you will, the number one priority on the horizon is shooting sub 90 on or before November 13th. And in just a moment, we are going to dig in and recap everything that has transpired the past 7 days, coming off of a new low this year, coming off of finally getting my new clubs, the Mizuno JX9 somethings, custom fit new clubs in my hand. Goodbye to the outdated Ben Hogan blades that to be frank, am not equipped or ready to play with. So I'll catch you up on 2 back-to-back days of playing 18 here in just a moment. But before we do that, I just wanted to take a moment to share with you, I had a really neat experience a couple weeks ago. I was fortunate enough to be a guest on the Mark podcast, hosted by none other than Mark Immelman. And I realized, as I've been getting a lot of great feedback on that episode, and I'll drop that below, that to date, this is episode 28. I don't know how many months we are into this particular podcast, but I will tell you, there's not one single episode of this podcast that really details my background professionally and personally. And I know it always is fun. There's a little bit of a curiosity, an itch that needs to be scratched. If you're going to keep spending anywhere from 20 to 60 minutes with me once or twice per week, you'd like to learn a little bit more about the man behind the microphone. So one of the recent episodes, I think as of recording this episode, it's still the most recent episode of the On the Mark podcast, will give you not only a wonderful conversation and masterclass on the mental and emotional game of golf, the work you need to be doing away from the course to get out of your own way and play to your potential, but you'll get to learn a lot more about me, my coaching background, the last 15 to 20 years of my story. And the same goes for an episode with none other than Mr. Josh Nichols on the Mental Golf Game podcast as well. Had a phenomenal back and forth conversation with Josh. And also, again, you'll get to learn a lot more about me than I didn't do the best job of really digging into my story because I like to give and cater to you. But if you ever would like to learn more about me, those are 2 wonderful podcast episodes I will drop below. Second of all, before we dive in, quick reminder, the last 2 editions of the More Pars Than Bogeys newsletter, I'm going to be frank, fucking fire, fucking must read material, all about your upper limit problem, your fear of success. And the most recent one is about the myriad of different ways you are sabotaging yourself, sabotaging your success, both on and off of the course. So if you're not subscribing to and reading the weekly edition of the More Pars Than Bogeys newsletter, you are missing out on an abundance of mental and emotional strategies, shifts, perspectives, new ways of seeing, thinking, doing, and believing that can empower you to play your best golf and shine your brightest away from the course as well. Those are linked below. Let's dive in. Last week, I found a 30-minute window to make the 12-minute drive to the Golf Tech to pick up the Mizuno clubs and the 12-minute drive back just in time to hop on my next call. And in those couple of days, I had the opportunity to hit hundreds of shots in my backyard in the lanai. If you haven't seen on Instagram, I've got a little at-home turf set up where I'm hitting plastic golf balls right now until I figure out my backyard situation in our new home. With that said, I got a lot of reps in with the gap wedge. the gap wedge. I am drilling that sucker and really breaking my swing down into a few elementary parts. So all week I'm hitting plastic golf balls, really working on just the basics. And for me, the biggest area I'm working on is getting my wrists and my knuckles down to ensure at impact the club face is as straight as it needs to be to send the ball to my intended target. I've got a lot of history of pushing the ball right, open club face, even when I'm making great contact, which was not nearly as frequently with the old clubs. The ball was still going right. So that's what I've been drilling. That's what I've been addressing. I took the clubs for a test drive at the range on Thursday of last week, and yeah, I'm not going to lie. Had a really good range session. So it was making, there's so much forgiveness in these clubs compared to the old blades I was using. So really good contact. Again, starting really small, getting a feel down, working my way up from basics to hip swing, 3/4 swing. And with some of the clubs, a full swing, knuckles down, knuckles down, knuckles down. So a lot of work on the iron, really deconstruction and reconstruction of my swing with the irons are what myself and Coach Melvin and I have been working on. And that's where the bulk of my practice has been. Now, I will say I ordered and it's already been delivered, but I've yet to complete a full practice session. One of, the name eludes me, like the birdie at-home putting, mimics the real feel of a green in your home. So I've got a 2x12 putting mat that I just set up and installed in the garage, and I will put a lot of time on that as we move forward as well. But let's get to the juicy stuff. Let's show up. It's Sunday morning. We're playing 18 with Mr. Max, one of the crew in the 4 Dudes, 1 Cart podcast. I was fortunate enough to be on there. 4 college and high school friends staying in touch every week, getting together to podcast, shoot the shit, talk all things golf and improvements, golf swing, golf technique, golf equipment, and everything designed to help you play better golf. So really cool episode, really cool podcast, and so neat that he's local. So we went over to Temple Terrace Golf Course. And I'm going to dig in and just give you some highs, some lows, what's going well, what's not working, and the overall impression of the new club. So again, leading up into this point, outside of a lot of repetitions with my gap wedge in the backyard, I've had 1 range session. And lo and behold, I get to this beautiful golf course, and there's not a range. And here I am prepared on a Sunday morning. I'm up at the crack of dawn, 5:30, wake up, we're ready to go, getting the morning gratitude and breath work done, heading to the course, the cooler's packed, and I'm there about an hour and 15 minutes early. And there's a tiny putting green. Chipping is not allowed. And if you drive a couple hundred yards away from the clubhouse, there is a little mock. There's a green, 40 to 60 yards of space, 2 mock holes, a bunker, a lot of pitching opportunity. So I spent a good 40 minutes there, to be frank, just getting a little bit more acclimated to the distance of these clubs. I will tell you, the gap wedge I was practicing primarily with and the pitching wedge were just flying, jumping off the ball. And you'll notice that as a theme in the 2 rounds. But we get to the first hole, and I've hit a couple balls into an impromptu net that's right by the first hole, and we're just ready to rock. And this is how the first hole begins. It's me, it's Max, one of his best buds named Mitch. We're here at a threesome. There's nobody on the course. Beautiful. We can take our time, have a great day, and we absolutely did. First drive. Rocket, open club face, way out to the right. Sayonara. Okay, we're using a breakfast ball. The next one, just a nasty hook. I hit it low on the club face. We're not off to a good start. Meanwhile, neither are Max and Mitch because they forget something in their car. So they both tee off, and we're playing from blue because Max is a really good golfer. Mitch is a great golfer. And there's only about a 400 or 500 yard distance between blue and white. So I agree. Let's make it easier. Let's all play from blue. So my drive goes maybe 175. Terrible fucking shot. They go up to their car. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to hit my shot because, theirs all went further than mine. And I just top my 5-wood. And it's like, okay, are we going to allow this to set the tone for the day? There we are. We're excited. We're there early. We're ready to rock and roll. Maybe the nerves are a little too far on the spectrum of becoming counterproductive because clearly we're not hitting the ball great. So we topped that ball, and we end up scoring a triple bogey on the first hole. And you and I both know there's only one way to appropriately respond on the next hole with the triple bogey, and that's a par. We're right back at it. We par the next one, a par 4, playing about 365, a great one putt, and we are off to the races. And now we bogey the next hole, so we've got 2 bogeys in a row. And here's where things get interesting. It's the 4th hole, par 3, 177 yards, no idea what club to use here. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to pull out a 7-iron, 3/4. I'm going to choke up a tad, maybe 3/4 to a full swing. So I blast the ball. Great contact. It pulls a little left. It hits the edge of the fringe. It kicks way left. So kicks way left. We're about 20 yards to the green. Well, this is where I got caught in a game of how many times can you hit it over the green, back and forth. My second shot hits the edge of the green and rolls over. My third shot, same thing. I caught the downward slope. I am struggling to gauge the distance, the power, the trajectory with this gap wedge. I had taken out of my bag my 50, my 52. I only left my 60, and now I've got a gap and a pitching wedge, so I'll make an adjustment as you'll learn. So I triple bogey that hole. And to be frank, I've never been happier with the triple bogey in that I hit the ball so well. All of my shots were great contact. The trajectory, everything I wanted was there except for the distance. And I know that just takes repetition. So we move on. We bounce back with a bogey on the next par 5. We double. We got a nasty triple that comes into play. We've got our second 3-putt of the day on 8, and then we bogey 9 to come in with a 52, 18 putts on the front. And the contact is there after minus the first hole. I hit the ball fairly well. Just did not feel I scored well on this hole, and that's okay. So we move to the back 9, and it's a lot of the same. We start horrendously. We 3-putt and we hit out of bounds and end up tripling on 10. We bounce back with a bogey, double, then bogey, another triple where I hit out of bounds. And 2 triples in a row. So here's where we're really running into mental trouble here. Like, what are we going to do to finish strong? How are we going to regroup? So I put myself in timeout. And what I mean by that is I drove my car to a little bit of ahead after 16. And I just took about 60 seconds by myself. Did a couple deep breaths, refocus, asked myself how I wanted to finish, what my intention was to finish. And I had a 1-putt bogey on 17 and a 1-putt par on 18. Finished with a 51, shot a 103, 17 putts on the back, and a 35 total putts. New course, playing from blue. I did a lot of things well. But here's where I really want to put our attention on. First and foremost, because I just caught myself, I got to celebrate the win. So there was a lot of frustration in this round, but the win is a lot of clean contact with the irons. Very pleased. The ball's just jumping off there, like I mentioned, 20, 30, sometimes feels like 40 yards further. I mean, I was blasting gap wedges, what felt like a 3/4 swing, 120, 130, and it felt effortless. I mean, over the green we go. I'm half swinging and it's still going 80 or 90 yards. So a lot of room for repetition to really know my yardages. And it's on my horizon already. There's a local golf club where they have like 10 stalls with the TrackMan set up. It's $20 an hour. So I'm going to go do that and start locking in my distances. But what I also did well was come back to ground myself. I told you I put myself in timeout to refocus, to not allow those 2 triple bogeys to define me or define how I was going to finish that back 9. I executed my putting routine well. As you heard, 35 total putts, not much to write home about. I had 3 putts on the back 9. I executed my routine well. I just couldn't gauge my distance quite well today or on that day. So we live and we learn. So there were 5 total 3 putts and 4, 5, 6 1 putts. So the opportunity's there. The putting is trending in the right direction. But here's where I am a little taken aback. My driver disappeared. My 3-wood disappeared. I got all out of whack. I think I hit 2 fairways, but it's not even the number of fairways I hit that is alarming. I developed this nasty low line drive hook of a drive. And if you followed these Tuesday episodes before, I typically poke my 3-wood 240 to 260. I would say 75% of the time it's doing what it needs to do. Sometimes I push it. This hook is totally new in the last week. And I think I'm taking too much of my iron swing. And I've been so routinized in my mechanics, making sure I'm rotating around my body, that I'm forgetting how to swing my driver. A lot less or a lot fewer repetitions. I couldn't hit a driver or 3-wood to save my life. Did not do well. Max gave me a couple good pointers, and it was a tough day. And to be frank, I didn't drive with much confidence, and going into each hole a little timid and uncertain about where and how you're going to start the hole isn't a recipe to play confident, committed, focused golf the rest of the hole and the rest of the round. So there's a real opportunity for growth for me there. And let's move, because boom, the next day, Monday, Labor Day, we're back at it again. We're playing 18 with Mr. Colin, who is the president of the University of Tampa club golf team. Great guy, great golfer. Had a lot of fun kicking it up with him and playing some good golf. So we started on the back nine, and I'm just getting my scorecard. And again, the driver, where did we go? We're out of bounds on the first hole, so we're starting double. And again, what I tell you, the way you respond to a bad start is you come back with vengeance with another par. So we're on to 11, a par 5. We have a 1-putt par on 11, a double on 12 with a 1-putt, another 1-putt bogey on 13. And then we hit a triple. And as I'm looking at the scorecard now, because it is just a couple hours after I finished the round, I don't recall what even happened. It just wasn't a good hole. Wasn't a good hole. Went on to, again, we bogeyed the next one, bogeyed again, and another triple. So 2 triples there, uncharacteristic, should not have been there. We didn't play well off the tee box, finding a lot of trouble off the tee box, 150 to 200 yards, way left, feeling no control, no confidence with the drive. So we come in and we make the turn, and I'm starting to have a conversation with myself. How do I want to handle the tee box? Because I shot a 50. I didn't know it at the time. I didn't add up my score until the very end. We shot a 50 with 18 putts on the back nine, but the first 9 of the day. And I didn't know if I should just succumb to hitting iron off the tee box. I'm playing pretty well. I've got a 4-iron, or I'm hitting my irons pretty well. And ultimately, I made the decision, unless a hole specifically called for it, I was just going to swing confidently and swing aggressively and do the best I can. And I'm proud of myself for committing to that approach, rather than showing really timid, not even sure where or how to initiate my takeaway. But I was fucking frustrated, to say the least. The drive, the 3-wood, completely absent. But anyway, we go on, and we're out of bounds with a double on 1. We're coming back. I'm bogeying 2, bogeying 3, double 4, bogey 5, bogey 6, bogey 7, bogey 8. And double 9. Card of 48, 15 putts, coming at a 98 with 33 putts. But here's what I want you to really take away from what I just shared. I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bogeys and 1 par. I grinded out those bogeys. I did not hit the ball well today. I felt inept off the tee box. And when I sat down to total up my 18, I was pleasantly surprised to see a 98 and to see a 48. I was pleasantly surprised to extract just how many bogeys I actually had, which again, right now, my goal of breaking 90 by November 13th requires it's bogey golf with 1 par. So I extract this as a positive. I see the potential there. Of those bogeys, there's a handful of 1-putts, a couple 2-putts. I'm putting for par or in a very advantageous position. So as I reflect back on these 2 days, a 103 and a 98, I can see progress is being made, which is why I remind you it's so valuable to have multiple ways to see, feel, engage progress. Commitment, motivation need progress, or at least the perception of progress, as the fuel to strengthen commitment and motivation to keep going. I'll be frank. Today felt like a fucking grind. It was hard. I was frustrated. Did a lot of breath work to calm myself back down. I was a little bit in disbelief, but I knew I couldn't try to fix my swing in the middle of a round. I'll take it up at the driving range and with the coach later on. I had to deal with the swing that showed up today, deal with the swing that was dealt, and that's what I did. But again, like looking back, again, six bogeys. I'm very happy with that. It is progress for me. I'm trending in the right direction. A 98 is not where we want to be. I think I had ended up losing 4 to penalties. I'm just looking at the scorecard. It looks that way. So again, what I hear and see is a lot left on the table. Because if I can learn to score well when I don't have anything close to my best, that's encouraging. I know the foundational elements of my game are going to continue to improve with repetition, coaching, and practice and feedback. And I'm choosing to latch on to that. Latch on that progress is happening. It's not the progress I quite wanted to see, which is, I want to see some 94s, 93s on the scorecard here sooner rather than later. Some of the balls were not pretty, but they got closer to the hole. I got the ball in the hole in fewer strokes than normal. And that's my reminder to you that so often we let ourselves not fully embrace, experience, or acknowledge the wins, the progress, because it didn't look a certain way. But you're not judged for how pretty a ball you hit. You're judged for how many strokes it takes to get the ball in the hole across 18 holes. Keep that in mind. Now, where does Paul go from here? Paul's got a crazy next 7 days. Paul will be fortunate enough to get to the range once. Paul's got family in town. It's opening weekend. The Washington Redskins come down here to take on the Tampa Bay Bucks in Tampa Bay. We've got a crew of 16 rolling deep to the game. If you're going, shoot me a message on Instagram at Scratch Golfers Mindset. Let's connect. Let's hook up for the tailgate. Not a lot of golf in the next 7-8 days. A lot of backyard work, a lot of putting in the garage, which is where I installed the putting green. Might get out there on Thursday. Might try to squeeze out one morning with the younger brother who's coming into town, but it's doubtful, and that's okay. Because a lot of my work is really going to be done in my mind. A lot of visualization will be prioritized between now and next week when I can get back on a regular twice-a-week playing schedule, because there's a lot of work to do. So here is where my priorities are, and I will sign us off and get us out of here. First and foremost, a lot of visualization from the tee box. A lot of visualization spent there, stepping up as that confident golfer who can put the ball exactly where he needs to, at will, on command, effortlessly and effectively. A lot of visualization will be done there. Self-hypnosis. Number 2, I'll be really getting some feedback on some swings. I'll send some video footage to my coach on the driver because something is off. I've forgotten a cue or am missing a cue, struggling to communicate with a cue that served me well in the past. But I will tell you this. There's a little voice in me who says, go to the range today, go hit 100 drives. I don't think that's the cure. I don't think that's going to help anything in the long term. It might be a short-term dopamine-laced Band-Aid that makes me feel good in this moment. The truth is, I know how to swing a driver. I have dozens, if not hundreds, of very good drives under my belt this year, driver or 3-wood for this context and conversation. My mind knows what to do. My body knows what to do. I don't need to overwhelm myself with more swing thoughts, more feedback. I'm going to straight fucking chill for 24 or 48 hours. Not worry about it. Let the dust settle, if you will, and trust the next time I put driver in my hand, things will come back. Of course, accelerated by the mental and visual work I will be doing. There will be strong intention and quality practice sessions with some of my longer irons out in the backyard with the plastic golf balls, just continuing to gain familiarity, confidence, and comfortability with those clubs because I haven't had to hit them that often yet. And then continuing to feel like my gap is my right-hand man. I am just totally comfortable, confident hitting that at any distance I need to within 120 and getting a lot of routine repetition done on the putting green as well. So there's an honest look. A lot of wins, a lot of things to work on, some highs and lows, but at the core, we're moving in the right direction. And we have more than 2 months, 15 plus rounds or so to shoot sub 90. We're in a good place. I know we're moving in the right direction, so I can go to bed, rest my head on my pillow with a sense of calm and peace of mind, knowing we're heading in the right direction. But I'm going to be very candid. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. A lot of work that needs to be done to clean up some consistency and get that confidence and clarity back off the tee box, start to finish, hole to hole, round to round. And I thank you so much for tuning in, catching up, hearing where I'm at, what I'm focusing on, what I'm struggling with, what I'm excelling at every single week here on the Scratch Golfers Mindset podcast. So thank you so much for tuning in. I genuinely appreciate you listening. And if you're still listening, you're finding these episodes relatable, perhaps entertaining at times, and hopefully valuable in some capacity, and you haven't yet taken 30 seconds to leave a genuine rating or review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, it'd mean the world to me if you took the moment to do that now. And the last thing I'll share is that I can't quite say whether or not the new clubs are the answer, but I can tell you this, the new clubs make things a hell of a lot easier when the ball goes 20, 30, even 40 yards further. So I look forward to dialing that in and shooting sub 90 in the weeks to come. Hit them straight this week. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll catch you in the next episode on Thursday.